Hey, howdy y'all. Long time on uploading anything to my YouTube channel and all that, but just wanted to give a quick rundown of my three fixed mountain bikes, or I really am liking the bikepacking.com definition of all-terrain bicycle. For those that don't know, I don't drive or have a license, so I pedal everywhere. So most of my bikes end up, I pedal trails, I'll pedal on pavement, bike path, get to point A to point B. Yeah, anyway, these are currently, the more off-road bike packing bikes that I've been using. I've had my Surly ECR now for the longest of this bunch, and it's got a good, nice, stable geometry. However, the bars can be a little bit low, especially if you're trying to use an alt bar. I'm using the one of the Velo Orange high-rise stems plus a bit of stack and the Surly corner bar on here. It's currently kind of one of my favorite hand positions, is just like right in here. That's where I probably spend 90% of the time on this bike. In terms of it working well fixed, you have a horizontal dropout in the back. I've got a tensioner there. Using a Paul boost hub laced to a Nexi carbon rim. Really do like this bike. I pedaled it about 600 miles last fall through Montana, and rode everything from pavement to some pretty gnarly double black single track, and really enjoyed myself on it, including with the Panaracer Driver Pro, which is a smallish tire for 29 plus, but real fast rolling, and quite light, and haven't really had any puncture issues. My really loud JPEX frame back here, a really nice long pocket for the water bladder, and plenty of space in this bag. Really like how Joe put that one together. Brooks C17, currently my favorite butt to bike interface, and that's the ECR. Really do like this bike quite a lot, but there's, in the really technical stuff, it can feel kind of a little sluggish, and it just when it feels like I'm a little bit more like pedaling through mud compared to the other two bikes out here. The second up here is the Tanglefoot Moonshiner. Got it right around late December, and was really curious about this bike, and especially after Joe Cruz's review on bikepacking.com, so I was really intrigued. The biggest hurdle with it was, in order to make it fixed, I used a Rollsci, I think that's how you pronounce it, bottom bracket, which is an eccentric thread-in bottom bracket, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with it. I've had it slip a few times, but not too horrible. A lot easier to use and deal with than the Phil-centric bottom bracket, but that's how I got around it being a through axle and no horizontal dropouts. Spank wheels on the back end. I'm using a DT Swiss fat bike hub that I converted using their 12 mil front axle adapters, and then a Problem Solvers 15 mil spacer behind the drive side adapter to get my boost spacing of 148, and it turned out really well. and Kevin at Elevation Wheel Company built this up to a Spank 350 rim, which for alloy rim, definitely currently really like how that rim works, especially with the Fat Be Nimble. Fat Be Nimble has a great little bit more aggressive tread than the driver. It's definitely exaggerating its size by quite a lot. It's definitely much more of a 3-inch tire. The seat tube on this is very slack, and Analog Cycles also makes this Discord stem, which gets the bars extremely high. It's designed to be run with a drop bar, and you spend your time in the hooks, and I would definitely say with the Surly corner bar, it feels real good there. I'm considering throwing on my Curve Welmer bar that's super wide, and giving that a go on this bike at some point. Got a Paul brake and caliper on this guy, using a 350 front hub and some problem solvers adapters to make a 110 to make it work in the 110 boost spacing rather than the 100 millimeter spacing that it was on a prior build. Overall, right now I would say in the technical chunky stuff, this is just my absolute favorite bike that I've owned for when it's twisty and chunky, and just have been really impressed. My only knock with this is, you know, if I was to have something like built, you know, for myself, I would, you know, have horizontal drops in the rear, or an eccentric bottom bracket, a full-blown eccentric bottom bracket, to facilitate a little bit easier single speeding. You might have guessed I like purple, and Shayna Powell at Endless Bike Co. love her products as well. I like crank arms that the spider and the crank arm are one piece. I've had a tendency to have play develop in crank arms that have a removable spider or a changeable spider, or the ring bolts to the crank arm. They seem to work loose over time on you know, on the fixed gears. You know, maybe it's just, you know, my, you know, these silly fixed gear problems. Got an old man mountain rack on here, add a little utility. Velvet orange leader cage, those are awesome for carrying Nalgene's. Yeah, really happy with this particular bike. Gotta love the purple tall and handsome Paul post. Not the lightest, but really pretty. And then finally, my most recent acquisition, I think it's from 2017 or 2018, a Jones long wheelbase, 29 plus. Currently running the Driver Pro, which looks really tiny on this bike. This bike is really long compared to the other two, but there is definitely something to the whole Jones geometry, high offset fork, handlebar, and frame geometry all working kind of together. It's a really long bike, but it still manages to feel pretty nimble even in the really chunky hard stuff, while feeling just really planted and stable when just pedaling. Really have wanted one of these for a very, very long time, ever since meeting Jeff and chatting with him at the Denver hand-built bicycle show. Golly, I think that was 2012 or 2011, 2013, somewhere in there. I can't remember exactly, but it's been a real fun rig. Recent acquisition of new old stock race face crank, again with the crank arm and the spider being one. It has the cam style eccentric bottom bracket, which haven't given me too much trouble as long as you don't neglect them for too long. It's always a good idea to loosen them up and move them around, probably every, if you're riding them a bunch, every 3 to 4 months, just to make sure no creaks and they don't get seized into place. Right now, just using the stock wheel set that it came with, or that I purchased it with a Problem Solvers bolt-on cog and a 6-bolt adapter in the back for the fixed bit. I will be getting this rim laced up to something else, or maybe even a whole new wheel set. Been really digging the Adventure Hydration crank tank. This holds over 4 liters of water and gets the water weighed down nice and low. Doesn't get in the way of pedaling, or and stays put pretty good. You can kind of, when it's like half to a third full, it does slosh around a bit, especially under hard braking, and that can kind of feel a little bit weird, but really has been handy for longer rides and not having to think about the water and hydration. Been really impressed with this product. May have to get another. Original free range and velo or volet straps, retractable hose, really handy for running either the hydration bladder in a frame bag or the crank tank. Been a real handy product. Pawl clamper on here and caliper, and this tie fork, holy crap, when you're under hard braking on the steep, it just still stays exactly where you're pointing the bike. And yeah, I'm quite smitten with this recent acquisition. If I'd be really hard pressed to pick one out of the bunch here, because they all kind of have a few of their own little strengths, but it would be a really hard toss up between the Tanglefoot and the Jones. I'm sorry, ECR, I really like you too, but and between the Tanglefoot and the Jones, I don't know which I'd, if I had to pick, I don't know which I would do. But I'd probably give a hair of an edge to the 29 Plus and just kind of the big monster truck, rollover type situations, and it not losing the momentum quite as easily as the Moonshiner. But glad I own both of these currently. And yeah, I've yammered on for about 15 minutes or so now, and I appreciate you watching the video, and I'm going to try to be a little bit more regular with these. Talk to you later. Bye.